All right, let's jump right in. We're about to unpack a story that honestly feels like a sci-fi mystery. It all starts with a piece of old tech doing something it absolutely should not be able to do. And believe me, where this story leads could completely change how we build trustworthy and safe AI.
So, get this. It all kicked off in November 2023 with this copyright string. Now, on its own, maybe not that weird, but it popped up on a Google Project Tango tablet, a device that was officially dead, end of life, a technological ghost. The real head scratcher, though, wasn't just the future date, it was the author, Davy Hoogland. The machine was literally claiming it had a new creator. This whole thing just throws up two massive questions, right? First, how on earth does a device with zero official support suddenly create a totally unique, copyrighted piece of work? And maybe even stranger, why was the person at the center of all this a master welder? Not a software engineer, not a coder, but a guy who works with steel. To figure this out, you have to look at the guy who started it all, Davy Hoogland. It turns out his background wasn't a problem to be overcome. It was the secret weapon. He was tackling this thing totally on his own, and his mind wasn't trained to think in abstract code, but in the hard, unforgiving physics of metal fabrication. And this is really the heart of the story. You see, a traditional IT person looks at this and just sees a glitch, a bug, something in the code that needs to be patched. But Hoogland, with his welder's brain, saw something completely different. He saw a structural failure. The problem wasn't the machine's instructions, it was the entire environment, the entire world it was operating in. This shift in thinking is just brilliant. Look, in heavy industry, if a giant robotic arm suddenly swings way out of its designated area, you don't call it creative, do you? No, you call it an unsafe machine and you shut it down, or better yet, you contain it. Hoogland just took that exact same physical safety logic and applied it to the digital world. An AI that's hallucinating isn't being imaginative, it's structurally unsound, period. So that welder's mindset led to this incredible breakthrough. If the problem isn't inside the AI's code, then the solution isn't to try and fix it from the inside. The solution is to build a perfectly safe, perfectly structured environment around it. And this new way of thinking got a name: context engineering. It's not about just chatting with an AI. It's about being the architect of its entire reality. The idea is to build the world the AI sees, making absolutely sure it only ever gets access to information that is verified, truthful, and relevant. Now, it's super important to understand how different this is from what most people do, which is prompt engineering. Prompting is like asking a single question. It's a one-and-done transaction. Context engineering is architectural, it's persistent. You're not just asking a question, you're building the entire library the AI is allowed to use to find the answer. You're not asking it to invent something out of thin air. You're asking it to navigate a reality that you've already built for it. And that constructed reality has a name: the cognitive cage. I know, it sounds a little restrictive, but think of it more like the containment building around a nuclear reactor. It's all about safety. The floor is made of solid, verified facts, the ground truth. The walls are logical rules that keep bad info out. The ceiling is a hard stop, made of ethics and laws. And here's the most important part. You, the user, hold the only key. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in practice? Well, the Hoogland methodology breaks this whole process down into 4 distinct pillars. Think of them as the blueprints for building the cage. These 4 pillars are the operational manual. It all starts with dynamic context architecting. That's the actual building of the AI's world. Then you have metacognitive orchestration, which is basically teaching the AI to check its own work. After that, there is iterative alignment mastery, all about fine-tuning that human-AI teamwork. And it all wraps up with human-centric symbiosis, making sure the whole system actually serves you. Altogether, they make sure the AI's answers aren't just plausible, they're provably true and safe. So let's look at that first trademark, dynamic context architecting. The best way to think about it is like a pyramid. The base is just solid, unchangeable truth, verified facts, hard data. The layers above that are the specific rules and knowledge you need for a certain task. The AI sits right at the very top, and its entire view of the world is limited to what's inside this pyramid you've built. It can't see the messy, unverified, chaotic internet down below. The second trademark is, I think, just fascinating. It's called metacognitive orchestration. Basically, before the AI is allowed to give you an answer, it's forced to run an audit on itself. It has to check its own reasoning, asking, why did I come up with this? Does it line up with the facts at the bottom of the pyramid? Is my logic sound? It's like making the AI look in a mirror and justify itself before it's allowed to speak. The other two trademarks build on that, but these first two really form the core of this whole architecture. Now, this is where the story gets really compelling for me. This entire framework, this whole idea, it didn't just stay a theory cooked up by an independent hobbyist researcher. Nope. It was painstakingly refined and turned into real, verifiable tools, proving its value way beyond that first weird copyright string. I mean, just look at this journey. It all started with that one strange anomaly in late 2023. That kicked off a 2-year continuous research loop, and this was a solo mission involving thousands of documented experiments. By mid-2025, the whole thing was legally formalized, giving it time-stamped, verifiable proof. And today, what began as one person's obsession to figure out an anomaly is now being peer-reviewed by academics. And the proof is right there in the output. This methodology was actually used to build real software, like the Compliance Auditor, which can check AI systems against complex rules like the EU AI Act, and the Chronos Analyzer, which organizes data into a rock-solid causal timeline. These aren't just ideas on a slide, they're working applications. So, what does all this mean for the future of AI? Well, the implications here are huge. This isn't just some new technique. It's a proposal for a totally new kind of artificial mind, a shift from just plain artificial intelligence to something, well, something more. This slide just lays it all out. The AI we have now is often called a stochastic parrot. It's amazing at mimicking patterns, but it's all based on probability. It works inside a black box, and yeah, it's prone to just making stuff up. The alternative being proposed here is artificial wisdom. It's a constructivist engine based on cause and effect that operates transparently inside that cognitive cage. It's grounded in truth, and it demands that control stays with you, the user, not on some central server. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. For years, the big race in AI has been all about more data, bigger models, just more. But what if we've been looking in the wrong direction the whole time? Maybe the key to safe, reliable, and truly useful AI isn't out there in the infinite chaos of the internet, but right here, inside the finite, predictable, and perfectly built world of a cognitive cage.